mountain kept a secret that day. 11 climbers died on K2O on August 1st and 2008, but only one story matters because of what he chose to do while dying. I am Isaac from the Mountain Takes, and Jer McDonald's name would be remembered differently because he refused to save himself while helping injured climbers. An engineer from Limerick, the first Irishman to summit K2, dead because he stayed to help. Sit tight because now I am going to explain what actually happened. It was August 1st, 2008, at 28,251 feet on K2O, the second highest mountain on Earth. 22 climbers had reached the summit that day. The weather window had opened after weeks of delays. The conditions were clear. The visibility was perfect. Everything suggested that this would be a successful summit push. Jer McDonald had just become the first Irish person to stand on top of K2O. He had taken photos. He had called base camp. He had done everything a summiter does when they achieve their life's goal at extreme altitude, and then the descent began. At 37 years old, Jer McDonald was no stranger to mountains. Born on January 20th, 1971, in Kilcornan, County Limerick, Ireland, he had grown up with dreams of mountains, but had taken an unconventional path to achieve them. He studied electronic engineering at Dublin City University and became a software engineer, building a career in the United States that took him to Alaska. In Anchorage, he worked for an oil company, writing software, managing systems, solving technical problems, but every moment outside of work, he was climbing. He had summited Mount Denali multiple times. He had helped other climbers on those peaks when they were struggling. He had become known in the Anchorage climbing community, not just for his skill, but for his character. He was described as a philosopher, a storyteller, a man who played the bodhran, the Irish drum in local bands. He was the kind of person people liked. In 2003, at age 32, Jer had become the fourth Irish person to summit Mount Everest. He had stood on the highest mountain on Earth and had come back down alive. He had proven that he could climb at extreme altitude, but K2O was different. K2 is steeper, more technical, more dangerous. The mountain doesn't care about your experience. For every 4 climbers who summit K2, 1 dies. The ratio is brutal. In 2006, Jer had attempted K2O and had been struck by rockfall, hit by a stone that knocked him unconscious. He had been airlifted to a hospital in Pakistan. He had lived, but the mountain had rejected him. For 2 years, he had lived with that rejection. He had trained harder. He had prepared more thoroughly. He had come back in 2008 to finish what he had started. The 2008 K2 expedition was Dutch-led, organized by Norrit, with multiple international teams joining the attempt. Jer was part of this expedition, along with other experienced climbers. They had spent 8 weeks at altitude, acclimatizing, preparing, waiting for the weather window to open. By August 1st, the patience had paid off. The window had opened. The summit push was on. 22 climbers from different expeditions decided to climb together, pooling their resources, sharing ropes, moving as a coordinated effort through the most dangerous section of K2, the bottleneck. The bottleneck is a narrow gully at approximately 8,200 meters where climbers must pass beneath hanging seracs, massive blocks of glacier ice suspended above the route. It is the most dangerous part of K2. It is where most deaths occur. It is where climbers move as fast as possible, hoping that the ice doesn't fall while they're underneath it. The safe time to pass through the bottleneck is before dawn, when temperatures are coldest and the ice is most stable. But on August 1st, because of delays, equipment issues, guide coordination problems, traffic on the fixed ropes, the climbers were passing through the bottleneck during daylight hours. They were moving through the most dangerous section. During the most dangerous time, Jer summited around midday on August 1st. He had reached his goal. He had become the first Irish person to stand on K2O's summit. He had taken his photos. He had sent his messages, and then he had begun to descend. The descent was where the mountain would collect its price. By late afternoon, as climbers were moving through the bottleneck on their way down, a serac broke loose. The massive block of hanging ice, possibly thousands of tons, fractured at its base. It fell. It exploded into fragments when it hit the mountain. It triggered an avalanche that swept through the bottleneck where climbers were descending. The avalanche destroyed the fixed ropes that climbers were using to rappel down. It separated groups, it trapped climbers, it killed people instantly. Some were swept down the mountain by the force of the ice. Others were buried. Some were left clinging to rocks and ice, bleeding, injured, unable to move. Jer McDonald survived the initial Sarek fall. He was alive. He was in a position where he could potentially descend, but around him, other climbers were dying. Some were severely injured. Some were stuck. Some were calling for help. And Jer made a decision that would define how he would be remembered. He refused to descend. He stayed with the injured climbers. He tried to help them. He worked to get them moving. He used his skills as an engineer, as a problem solver, to figure out how to move people who couldn't move themselves. He was a storyteller, a philosopher, but in that moment, he was also a man who wouldn't abandon other people. The hours that followed are described differently by different survivors. Radio communication was sporadic. The confusion was complete. Some climbers could see what was happening. Others were trapped in clouds. Some had lost their ropes and were clinging to anything they could find. Fredrik Strang, a Swedish climber, reported carrying down both living and dead people. He said more than 9 climbers were dead. Wilco van Ruwijgen, the expedition leader of the Norrit team, would later airlifted to a military hospital in Pakistan. He would survive, but he would spend the rest of his life asking what could have been done differently. Jer McDonald was not among the survivors. His body was never recovered from K2O. He remains on the mountain at the place where he made his choice to help. The mountain kept his body as payment for his decision. 11 people total died on K2O on August 1st, and 2008. 3 were South Korean climbers, 2 were Nepali guides, 2 were Pakistani high-altitude porters, Jahan Baig and Mehraban Karim, known as Karim the Dream. 1 was a French climber named Hugues Doberdade. 1 was Serbian climber Dren Mandek, who fell in the bottleneck during the ascent. 1 was a Norwegian named Rolf Bay, and 1 was Jer McDonald, the Irish engineer, who refused to save himself. In the aftermath, an investigation began. It was determined that poor rope placement by advanced climbers, traffic jams on fixed ropes, delayed summit attempts, and the unavoidable Surak collapse all contributed to the disaster. But Pemba Gileji Sherpa, one of the survivors, made a statement that echoed through the climbing world. If everyone had turned back after the first climber fell, I think there would have only been 1 death on the mountain instead of 11. The disaster revealed that decisions made in the death zone, decisions made by people with critically low oxygen, by brains literally dying from lack of air, were often made poorly. But Jer McDonald's decision was different. His decision was made with clarity. His decision was to stay. Back in Ireland, a memorial mass was held in Kilcornan on August 17, 2008. Thousands of mourners attended. Irish President Mary Magalise paid tribute to him. The climbing community mourned. His family, his partner Annie Starkey, and his relatives initiated the Gerard McDonald Memorial Fund to assist the children of Pakistani and Nepalese climbers who died on K2 inches, August 2008. His memory wasn't just preserved in tragedy, it was preserved in action that helped others. In 2012, a biography was published, The Time Has Come, Jer McDonald minus his life and his death on K2, by Damien O'Brien. In 2013, a documentary film called The Summit, directed by Nick Ryan, premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival. It told the story of that day through survivor interviews and archival footage. Jer McDonald became the face of the 2008 K2 disaster, not because he died, but because of what he chose to do while dying. This is what the mountain keeps. Not bodies, not summits, not achievements. It keeps the memory of the people who chose other climbers' lives over their own. Jer McDonald summited K2 as the first Irishman ever to do so. He died on K2O because he wouldn't leave injured climbers behind. His body remains on the Savage Mountain at 28,251 feet, preserved in ice, a permanent memorial to a man who understood that some things matter more than survival. I am Isaac from the Mountain Takes. If you've ever faced a choice between saving yourself and helping others, if you've ever wondered what you would do at your limit, Subscribe, because there are more stories of mountains that don't just test your body, they test your character. And sometimes, the people who fail the mountain are the ones who matter most. I'll see you on the next descent.